morning, everybody. I'm Mark Haas, co-founder and CEO of AEG, Association for Enterprise Growth. We are an ecosystem of elite advisors for mid-market business owners. We're helping them grow their companies, exit on their terms, and build personal wealth. We're building up a city-based and virtual chapters of about 50 to 80 professionals in complementary disciplines. Started in DC, launched in Baltimore and Richmond. We have several unique capabilities, including curating both the advisor and the CEO communities and connecting them, and by using both technology and culture to leverage the advisor marketing capabilities. Tien's one of our investors and principal advisor, raising capital to accelerate growth, to capture both the surge in the transition of boomer businesses, and certainly to capture the uncertainty over equity markets over the next decade. Like I said, we're raising capital. Our round is still open. Anyone interested in learning more, I'll put a copy of the executive summary and a link to our deck in the chat. I'm excited. Our first presenter is Identify Sensors Biologic. It's headquartered in Cleveland. And because of the rise in the number of infections and diseases that need detection, the medical device and detection business is still on analog. It's slow, it's expensive, and requires a fair amount of effort. So Identify Sensors has developed a digital solution to this that focuses on the ability to put cartridges in smartphones. And while they're really good at detecting COVID, HIV, they're going to have a number of other pathogens that they can detect. I'd like to introduce Dr. Greg Hummer, who's the CEO of Identify Sensors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the presentation.
Check 4, a new medical diagnostic platform. Additional test cartridges coming soon. Disrupting 50-year-old chemical testing with breakthrough nanosensors for multiple pathogens. Check 4 uses saliva to test multiple infections and sends results to your smartphone in minutes. It's fast, affordable, and more accurate than rapid antigen tests. Check 4 will become an over-the-counter testing lab in your medicine cabinet. Invest now. Identify Sensors just moved this technology from Purdue University to the commercialization stage.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I am Dr. Gregory Hummer. I have trained at the Cleveland Clinic. I was a trauma surgeon for a period of 16 years, and I've started several healthcare companies. Today, we're going to be talking about a radical change in the way we diagnose pathogens throughout the world. As you see, there are cartridges and a reader. The reader is a reusable device. The cartridges can be made for individual pathogens, or in this case on the left, you see COVID-19, influenza A and influenza B. We've engineered this cartridge to accept up to 6 different pathogens or detect 6 different pathogens. So our partner in this is Purdue University. We've been working with them throughout the last year. We've been working on this technology for over the last 5 years as it applies to the food supply chain. The same technology will be used and functionalized to detect E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella in the food supply chain. But today we're going to talk about a lab in the palm of your hand for gene detection. This does and accomplishes what a PCR test does, but without all the logistics and without all the information. So it's a platform technology for detection of many pathogens, those pathogens being RNA or DNA. So the U.S. lab market is about $50 billion a year, and our government spent about $80 billion in the last 16 months just on COVID testing alone. A recent quote that we did for a big insurance company asked us to quote out 10 million tests and 1 million readers. The carriers are bleeding on lab charges, and they want to drive home testing in the future. The opportunity right now is for COVID. We use nanosensors that target that nucleocapsid engine, which means we can detect all the variants. This is an electrochemical test with high specificity, high sensitivity. It's a saliva test with no preservation, no amplification. And because the signal output is digital, it automatically reports to the cloud, and the cloud reports to the state health departments, We can track a pandemic because everything has GPS locations in it. So we sell the reader. It's engineered for all future tests and for 22,000 cartridge insertions. We sell the cartridges as either single or multiplex tests. The data algorithm is in the cloud, so when we need to change the data algorithm, it changes it for the entire world. The reader is passive. The markets are public and private testing, in which we have state governments, foreign governments. We've talked to Brazil, we've talked to Japan, we're talking to Mexico. We have private companies, cruise lines, sports teams. We've talked to them all. They're all anxiously awaiting this type of test. We also have an umbrella strategy where we work with reservation software vendors to integrate the COVID results for dentists, gyms, restaurants, Live Nation, schools, and universities. And last, labs for lab development tests. The ultimate is direct to consumer. The reader is a one-time buy. All parts are available in mass quantities within the US. We made it that way. Contract manufacturing is now being sorted out. The reader is from $75 to $83. Cartridges are engineered for roll-to-roll process to scale to billions of pieces, between $19 and $25. Multiplex will be more. The cost of the reader and cartridges go down as we scale, and the margins are intended to be 70 to 100%. The closest competitor from a molecular test is between $50 and $150, the average being about $150. The closest antigen test competitor is 25 to 30 per test. At this price, Identify Sensor's margin is 100%. PCR and antigen tests just can't compete. Here's a list of what we think are competitors, although there is nobody that's doing this as a competitor. Lucira is a molecular test, Q is a molecular test. Both involve all the logistics of supporting a PCR test and are expensive. The time now and the opportunity is for Check for COVID. It's low cost, a gene test. We can mass produce it. It's inexpensive. It works directly on saliva. We can detect the variants, and the results are in minutes. We have issued patents and pending patents that will cover this technology. Our offering is $50 million of common at 4.25 to Identify Sensors Biologics Corp. as a Delaware corporation. We have a Reg D 506C. The PPM is online. The company is already SEC qualified as a Reg A+, and we have up-to-date PCAOB audit statements. The circular is also online. To date, we've raised $3 million out of the 50, and we're expecting an NIH grant and a BARDA grant. The use of funds is for tooling, manufacture, and distribution, sales, key personnel, and continued development of future pathogen sensors. We'll be developing influenza A, influenza B, and we're going to go right to MRSA. That's methicillin-resistant staph, which is a $20 billion problem in the hospitals in this country every year. Our exit will either be to take the next step, as we are close to an IPO with a Reg A anyways, or a private sale. We have a TRL situation of 6. We're going to move to a TRL 7 at the end of the third quarter of this year. That'll be small-scale GMP production, and a TRL 8 and 9 with large-scale production in the fourth quarter of this year. As far as the regulatory roadmap, we've hired a company called NAMSA that'll take us through. We hope to have EUA at the end of the third quarter and 510K Class 3 by the end of this year. We have an all-star team. Jeff Spagnolia, for instance, took Cisco Systems from $79 million as vice president of sales to a $50 billion company. Our team at Purdue is outstanding. Steve Barrett was the CFO of Procter & Gamble Europe and also of Whirlpool. Dick Burrell ran Kraft as a CEO and ran other multi-billion-dollar companies. Richard Kuhn is a director of the Department of Immunology and Pathology at the University of Purdue. You can see the rest of these people that we have working for us when we send the deck. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope to meet you in the breakout room.